Graduates of 1986, from that wall, I've taken these, some of the books that you've used through your years of study within the hallowed halls of Hoban High School. There's physics, English, social studies, government, psychology, and of course, geometry. Imagine all that you have learned. I'm here today to tell you that it could have been for nothing. Yes, you have just completed 4 years of the finest high school education any student could hope to attain, and yet you may have wasted your time. You see, it could be that we don't need no education. In the Pink Floyd masterpiece, Roger Waters, using a unique musical style, tells us about a wall that exists between his tragic hero and the people around him. But the bricks of his hero's wall are common to many of our own psychic prisons. The wall has begun at birth. We and others add to it in a multitude of ways as the years go on. It is a wall of ego and materialism, a wall that leads to increasing isolation and loneliness. It is a wall reinforced with false pride and arrogance. And unless it is torn down, it will eventually cause the downfall of the entire human race. It is built of many bricks, not the least of which could be the bricks of education. Blocks of knowledge held together with the mortar of so-called empirical facts. Because, due to a lack of guidance, determination, or courage, we do not attempt to perceive what is on the other side of the wall. We yield to the common trend and continue to build that wall ever higher and wider. The subsequent restriction of our intellectual vision causes us to be ensnared by an insidious epistemological trap called progress. This progress becomes our God, and we follow it because we believe that it will eventually lead us to a utopian world, to a heaven on earth. We wind up deluding ourselves into believing that a wall, which in actuality will destroy us, is a stairway to some materialistic heaven. If the past 4 years of your Hoban education has done nothing more than to reinforce this myth of progress, then we have failed you miserably. If your education merely contributes to an individual and collective wall of materialistic knowledge, then Roger Waters' song is indeed correct. We do not need any education. You see, the object of education should never be knowledge only. It must be something much more important than that. To make the proper use of knowledge, you must discover and use that which is on the other side of that wall. And what's on the other side? A tree. A very special tree. Read your book of Genesis, and you will see that in the Garden of Eden that Adam and Eve inhabited, there wasn't just one special tree, but 2 great trees of significance. One, the one with those fateful apples, was the tree of knowledge. That tree led to destruction and death. But the other, that was the tree of life. And that tree led to eternal truth. It contained the secret of returning back to God. In many mythologies around the world, the tree of life has a synonym. It is called the tree of wisdom. Behind that wall is the tree of life. That tree is the source of wisdom. And wisdom holds the key to the reason why you exist on this earth. Let me put it to you another way. Mathematically. Unless we perceive what is on the other side of that wall, we are left with only knowledge, and duped into believing that this equation is truth, that knowledge equals wisdom. But people, if there's just one idea that you remember that I've told you over all the years I've tried to teach you, it is this. Knowledge is not equal to wisdom. Knowledge does not lead to a better world. As a matter of fact, alone knowledge can lead to an arrogance which can have devastating consequences. Knowledge built the gas chambers at Auschwitz and the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Knowledge creates chemicals which poison our waters, and factories which pollute our air, and super weapons which make us live under a constant threat of annihilation. Knowledge cures absolutely nothing. It takes an inspired human decision about how, if, and when to apply knowledge to transform it into a miracle rather than a tragedy. To be beneficial, knowledge must be guided by the spirit of wisdom. And such wisdom is found on the other side of the wall of materialistic facts and figures. Such wisdom can be perceived if one examines closely and carefully the mortar and bricks. For the most ingenious and eloquent theories of knowledge are ultimately and profoundly flawed, have cracks. Such wisdom is grounded not in the tree of knowledge, but in the tree of eternal life, in God. Young ladies and gentlemen of Hoban, you must go out and tear down the walls. You must tear down the barriers between people and between people and God. And to do that, you need wisdom. And I will tell you about this wisdom. This wisdom is patient, steady, and alert. It is understanding, sensitive, and compassionate. And you know what? This wisdom is often ignorant. Yes, wisdom may be ignorant of the atomic makeup of a wheat molecule, but it understands the cries of hunger issued by over half the world, and it acts to help. Such wisdom tears down the walls between people and between people and God. Wisdom has forgotten the basic tenets of the economic system that we call capitalism, but it feels the pangs of poverty that over 2/3 of the world wallows in, and it acts to help. Such wisdom tears down the walls between people and between people and God. Wisdom perhaps will not be able to give you all the historical details surrounding the emergence of the Industrial Revolution, but it realizes the human need for challenging work and accomplishment, and it acts to help. Wisdom's memory fades concerning the metaphysical basis of St. Augustine's mystical philosophy, but it knows the importance of spiritual awareness for humankind, and it acts to help raise that awareness. Such wisdom tears down the walls between people and between people and God. Wisdom does not recall the day of Brown versus the Board of Education, but it is sickened at the injustices caused by prejudice around the world, from South Africa to Akron, and it acts to help correct that. Wisdom has long since given up trying to extrapolate exactly how an inspired St. Paul so masterfully weaved the words of Jesus into a coherent philosophy. But wisdom will never forget the most important message of Jesus, his message of love, and wisdom always acts with that love in mind. Such wisdom tears down the walls between people and between people and God. Wisdom will help you understand the limits of knowledge. You see, no amount of knowledge can make you say even one simple word of appreciation or love to your mother, father, son, or daughter. Yet that's the way to tear down the wall. Not all the knowledge in the universe could animate just one person to visit a sick friend, or call someone who needs a few words of encouragement, or apologize to a brother or a sister. And that's the way to tear down the wall. Someday you may acquire a PhD, maybe several, perhaps an MD. Those degrees will not help you one bit to treat your workers, students, patients, or acquaintances with kindness and respect, or offer them a few words of consolation when they are in need. Not all the books in all the libraries of the world could actually move one student to help another student who may be on the verge of a mental collapse. And yet that's the way to tear down the walls and to know God. So you learn. You educate yourself to the max. You go on and form the academic wonders of medicine, mathematics, Mondrian, and Mozart. But you remember, in those times when you're feeling so superior, so sure of yourself behind your massive wall of science, psychology, technology, and philosophy, that lurking within the very depths of every human study is an infinitesimal yet persistent mystery. And within that mystery is an ever so slight crack of doubt. And through that humble doubt, you are given the opportunity to perceive the truth of your essence in the wisdom of God. Class of '86, it has been a great honor to talk to you today. Thank you for the privilege of knowing you, teaching you, and coaching you. Thank you for your kindness and friendship over these 4 wonderful years. May each of you grow each day in knowledge and, more importantly, in wisdom. Go out and tear down the walls. Bring us all closer together and closer to God. Goodbye.